Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev says the new U.S. sanctions amount to an all-out trade war against Russia. President Trump signing the sanctions bill today, even as he called it deeply flawed. If it were a trade war, Moscow should be very concerned indeed. The United States is Russia's fifth largest trade partner. Russia is only the 30th largest trade partner for the United States. The Prime Minister had better hope that he's wrong. Joining us tonight to discuss the signing of the sanctions bill, North Korean provocations, and much more, retired four-star General Jack Keane, Fox News military analyst. Great to have you with us, General.
Good to be here.
Medvedev choosing a very, it seems to me, a peculiar way to express concern about the sanctions, calling it a trade war. It is nothing of the sort, at least for the United States.
No, it's not at all. I mean, clearly, what the Trump administration has done indeed is change the relationship between the United States and Russia from one of essentially accommodation, is what Obama was doing with them as they annexed Crimea, moved into Ukraine, military intervention into Syria, bombing the Syrian moderates, and we did nothing about it. So this is really a policy of confrontation based on very good evidence in terms of what Russia is clearly up to, obviously to include Iran and North Korea as well.
Yeah, and as we look at all that is going on with North Korea and their obvious intent to continue testing ICBMs, testing further nuclear weapons, this has to end somewhere, and it right now doesn't look like it's going to end well, particularly for the North Koreans.
Well, clearly, North Korea has made the calculation that they have to have nuclear-tipped ICBMs, or intercontinental ballistic missiles, to put the American people at risk to deter the United States from ever conducting a regime change in North Korea. That's a departure from the past, where it was always understood that having weapons pointed at South Korea would be enough deterrent. So this is their calculation. The other calculation they make, I think, is interesting also, is they're saying that any preemptive attack or any military action taken by the United States against any capability that North Korea has is an act of war, and they would release all the rockets and missiles and capability they have on South Korea. They believe that by having that policy, that checkmates the United States, and the United States will essentially accept nuclear-tipped ICBMs. The problem with that calculation is they're dealing with a Trump administration that is totally different than their predecessors, and they may indeed be making a miscalculation here.
At some point, the calculus has to become public. We go back to 1957 in the era of mutual assured destruction. Now it becomes, it seems to me at least, incumbent upon us to say this is precisely what will happen. Draw a line, if you will, a red line. But there has to be some way to stop that, because obviously it's unacceptable to put any U.S. citizen in harm's way when it comes to Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that assessment, and that's likely to happen. The Trump administration, despite the rhetoric, is still going to work with China. They're going to put sanctions on China considerably more than what they've done in the past. I think the president's pretty close to making a decision on this, and they're going to continue to increase that pressure and that leverage. And obviously they have to put it on fast forward now, because literally the clock is running out as we've had these frustrating leaks out of the intelligence service and how close North Korea is to a nuclear-tipped ICBM.
It's interesting that we're having these leaks, and yet the policy that has been followed to this point by the Obama administration in particular, in the first 6 months of this administration, the idea that these people can get this ready in the next year, that is an ICBM capable of delivering a North Korean warhead to a U.S. target, is deeply troubling, because everything the American people have been told until just a couple of months ago was that it was far more, a far broader and longer horizon.
Yeah, several years in most cases, and some others, you know, 2 to 3 years. And now we're told sometime next year, if we accept the credibility of what the media is saying based on a leaking source. So I tell you the truth, I can't shed any light on that because I don't talk classified information with anybody in the government, and I think that's the way it should be.